Evening, folks. Brian here. Wednesday, March 13, 2024. Hope you're all swell. So have you read those articles? They're on the internet. How planet Mars attacks? So I guess they've worn out the man-made global warming narrative they've been pushing since 1983. Now, think about this clearly. You're being programmed. Well, the public in general. You're being programmed to think Mars may be responsible for the ocean circulation changes and ocean floor heating because of its orbit every 2.4 million years. You're being set up they're trying to convince you that the gravitational pull from a smaller planet, Mars, affects a larger planet, Earth, tilting Earth's usual path and orientation. But there's another reason. In one of Mr. Carlos Ferradas, the great Chilean scientist who studied, documented, and observed Herculebus, otherwise planet, and also the star Wormwood, he wrote that when it becomes visible, they will say it's Mars. But right now they're starting off by trying to convince you that every 2.4 million years, Mars comes close enough to affect Earth and its ocean currents. So that when Sail does make its appearance, Sail being our binary star, you'll think it's Mars. Mars attacks. Cover story. So in 1983, on December and January 1983, and one more time in September of 1984, when they formally announced the existence, the finding of planet Sail, that's when they came up with the cover story, Man-Made Global Warming, to explain the Earth changes, the sea level rise, the ice melt, etc. And they appointed Al Gore and John Kerry to try and convince you of that. They are actors. You know who the stupid people are? The stupid people are not Al Gore and John Kerry. The stupid people are all the ones trying to convince you that, oh, it's not man-made global warming. The stupid people doing all their YouTube videos. Oh, it's not CO2 this, it's not CO2 that. Al Gore and John Kerry know what the truth is. John Kerry is one of the ones that made a secret visit along with Obama down to the Antarctica, where they have the observatory telescope on the South Pole in 2016. Before I continue, aviation incidents seem to be on the rise, aren't they? Parts of the planes falling off, air turbulence and things like that. Do you think maybe, just possibly, they're getting ready to stop air travel because of the increased air turbulence for the breaking down of our jet streams and the increased radiation levels coming in through our weakened magnetic field. Think about it. Too many coincidences. And every time someone blows his whistle, they find him dead. Let's continue. Carlos Ferrada forewarns the world of 3 major earthquakes and volcanic eruptions in 3 areas. 1 somewhere between Spain and France. 2, Indonesian region of Sumatra, Java, Borneo. 3, off the coast of southern Peru down to halfway down to Chile. Start off with France. There's an interesting connection. The Marian apparition of September 19, 1846. It says, among other things, Paris will burn and Marseille will be engulfed. Several cities will be shaken down and swallowed up by earthquakes. The seasons will be altered. The earth will provide nothing but bad fruit. The stars will lose their regular motion. The moon will only reflect a faint reddish glow. Water and fire will give the earth's globe convulsions and terrible earthquakes, which will swallow up mountains and cities. Indonesia, because that's my wife's country, I obviously watch it very closely. Borneo never has earthquakes. Borneo is now having earthquakes. Exactly where Carlos Ferrada forewarns of. Finally, coastal Peru down to Chile. What did I show you the other day? All those earthquakes off the coast. Precursor signs. So there is an expansion of the outer core, sending its magma and its heat up through those mantle plumes I often show you, which are responsible for everything that's been happening on our planet. And a lot of people, a lot of earthquake forecasters do not understand it. They don't. Increased heat throughout Japan's volcanoes recently. Galapagos Islands, ongoing volcanic eruption, and today, right next to the Galapagos Islands, earthquakes up to a magnitude 5 or 5.1. Coastal Carolinas, there's a spread of heat and probable fires. I just haven't had time to go through them all yet. Texas. I repeat myself. 2 and 1 days prior to the first fire breakout, there was a massive heat detection. On the day of the fire breakout on February 26th, there was 3 other locations south of that area in Texas, massive heat spread, as well as into Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, and the day later, 3 locations in Colorado. Mexico down to Nicaragua, all those fires around the volcanoes. Vesuvius, Campi Flegrei, the size of the earthquakes increasing. And as I've reported today, the Cobb hotspot off the coast of British Columbia, between British Columbia and Washington State. So much is happening on our planet, it's hard for me to keep up. And honestly, I didn't know about 2,000 earthquakes in a short period of time off of the Explorer seamelt. And just south of that is the axial seamount off the coast of Washington State, one of those 2025 locations. By 2025, the expected eruption of the axial seamount. You should start thinking about tsunamis, not just from earthquakes. Although a large eruption of the Explorer Seamount, which is the Explorer Plate, which is the north end of the Cascadia subduction zone, might be a trigger. And now we can bring in Scripture. Because once again, Scripture speaks of all of these things, including the earthquakes and other major disasters in diverse places. But nowhere in Scripture does it explain the cause, the triggering mechanism, except for the final great earthquake upon his return. But it does. The star Wormwood, which when you look at the timeline of what's happening on our planet, and no, we are not in the middle of tribulation. We haven't even started. There has to be the beginnings of the sorrows and the earth pains first. And as I stated, the first half of the tribulation period, 1/4 of the world's population will be dead. That's 2 billion people. For all of those who think we're in the middle of the tribulation period, where's all the dead people? Where's all the earthquakes, the pestilence, and the famines, and the signs from above? It doesn't say what the triggering mechanism is, but when you put everything together, what they want to keep secret from us, hidden from us, cover stories, and dedicated researchers, there's a far much more credibility in Scripture and in researchers than a single spook who says Planet X doesn't exist. For in Luke 21, verse 25, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress among nations, falling into perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the seas and the changing tides. Not caused by a smaller planet like Mars. Tilting the planet Earth. And as I said, they're setting you up. They're programming you. Just like Carlos said, when it does make an appearance, they will say it's Mars. To answer someone's question that just asked me, what's the timeline? I don't know. Pay attention to 1, the earth changes. The heat, the fires, the volcanic eruptions, the earthquakes. 2, orchestrated distractions. Ignore them. 3, watch your political figures. Are they suddenly retiring? Fake deaths? Moving off of coastal areas? 4, perplexity of nations and anguish. For these are only the beginnings of the sorrows, and only the beginnings of the earth pangs. But something else is happening. Our sun's been very quiet. It has thrown nothing at us. We have more than one star. Mr. Farada also stated that there will be behavioral changes and irritabilities bringing upon wars. I can tell you one thing. For the past several weeks, every single night and every single afternoon when I lie down for a nap, I always have dreams now. Every night. And I don't know why. Or maybe I do. How about you? Anything abnormal? Expect a lot more of these cover stories that come out. Expect an intensification of the distractions, but ignore them. Yes, they're probably going to happen, the wars and the rumors of wars. I think that's it. There's a great, great sadness knowing or feeling that something catastrophic is about to happen. Not one, but several. As it has been written, so it shall be.